Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the OkCoin listings team on our spooky, scary Halloween episode. So we're going to be discussing the scariest stories that we've had in our personal lives, in our crypto lives, how we got into crypto, and also, what we think about what's happening in the industry. So I'll kick us off. My name is
Hey,
Devika.
Devika. My name's Harrison.
Hey everyone, I'm Sam.
I'm Batman.
All right, now everyone give your real Halloween names first.
I'm a goth chick. I'm a goth chick. That was as far as I got.
I'm a maybe evil, maybe not evil witch. It's yet to be seen.
I am a crunchy Trader Joe's crew member. My name's Montana.
I'm the baby shark, yo.
Nice.
And Kurt is obviously Batman. So just to kick us off, before we talk about the scary times that we're in crypto and also, the general economy, I wanted to start us off with discussing how everybody even got into crypto. It's been quite the journey this year, especially, and I think we've all kind of seen the ups and downs of the markets. So, I wanted to start off by asking everybody, how did you guys get into crypto? So, Batman, why don't you start us off?
Sure. I got into crypto because I was doing international trade, like internet, like global supply chain, and so we sent millions of dollars around the world. And I remember spending long time or many days in the office tracking ACH payments around the world or wire payments. And I spent a lot of hours doing that. And I was like, there must be an easier way to send payments around the world. And then I started getting onto Twitter and I saw all these posts about Bitcoin. And then I started following Bitcoin and what it does.
Kurt, tell us about the biggest investment that you've ever that you got lucky to make. And
The
no,
biggest investment I've
the
ever
biggest
made?
win that you've ever made.
Uh, I participated in the ICOs way
Wow.
back when. Um, it was highly risky, highly speculative, but some of them are actually still around today. So I'm definitely surprised. I do
Wow.
think I came out on top. I lost quite some money on the ones that were that went straight down after a couple months, but a lot of them are some of
I
them are
think
still
that
around.
sufficiently gives you OG status for sure. So if anyone wants to go look into Kurt's likes, you might
Definitely.
find some gems in there. MFA,
Not financial
as
advice.
always.
Harrison, how did you get into
Uh,
crypto?
I have always had a pretty big level of distrust with the Federal Reserve, and for years struggled to make money shorting the stock market. So I found a way that I could actually go long instead, and that was through crypto. One of my buddies, he's actually like very active in the space now, but he came up to me when we were working and told me about Ethereum. So I got pretty lucky with that. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have found it when I did. So yeah.
Kyung?
Hi everyone. For my case, I was in a consulting firm, then wanted to catch on something that is like really trending, and crypto is definitely one of the most fascinating space I can find. It's at the forefront of technology. One fun fact though, as soon as I joined OKCoin, I think I crashed the market. So if you have anyone to blame for the steepness that you're seeing right now, like Baby Shark here will take the blame.
Ruthless baby shark just took down the entire crypto market and the world economy by joining
Yeah,
OkCoin.
Keong, I think you and I are pretty similar in a lot of ways. One, when I joined, the week I joined was the whole Luna crash. So I don't know if I had anything to do with that, but we're both some bad luck, I guess. But yeah, so I worked in a consulting firm as well, and had been interested in crypto for several years before that, but really didn't deep dive too deeply until I heard one really interesting podcast with Balaji and Tim Ferriss, and then that led me down this huge rabbit hole of like, oh my gosh, this technology is really cool. And then yeah, I just kind of quit my job and dove into the becoming a degenerate on Twitter and figuring out what it all was all about, and then yeah, joined OKCoin several months ago now.
That's awesome. I wish I could quit my job and just like research something for a few months, but Unfortunately, my visa status doesn't allow this. So, if anyone in the U.S. immigration system is listening, maybe this is time to change the immigration system and help us, research new technologies without getting deported. Um, but I guess I'll just share my crypto story. So, I actually used to work with Alex, who is our, I guess, collective boss. And we were on the Microsoft Global Corporate Strategy team back in 2017. And Alex was the crazy guy on the team who was talking about this like crypto thing. And he kept being like, "Oh my God, Microsoft needs to invest in Bitcoin or not Bitcoin in like blockchain technology, and like we need to spend like many millions of dollars, and we need to do these things." And everybody was just like, he's like, he's crazy. But he kept saying, you guys got to invest in Ethereum, you got to invest in Ethereum. I think it was at 60, $70 at the time. We didn't. He even gave us a like paper bag, brown bag lunch presentation about what crypto was and the value of Ethereum and Bitcoin, and people literally laughed him out of the room. But then I actually bought at I think when it was about 120. So I'm very happy that I did and I listened to him. But he kind of spurred that interest in me. We ended up kind of helping lead some of the initial investments at Microsoft. Some of them made it public, which is super exciting. And I was just really interested in staying in the space, post business school as well. So that was kind of what brought me here. So it's really interesting that we all had very different origin stories, and we all kind of came from very different places, very different interests, and had like very different reasons for wanting to enter. So Harrison's like distrustful of the government, and federal banking systems. I rely heavily on the federal banking systems, but understood that there's maybe better technology out there. Other people were seeing remittances, and seems like Sam and Kyung were also interested in seeing what's new and hot. So, I guess when we think about spooky stories and we think about crypto, I'm sure we've all had a lot of missteps. I certainly have had a lot of missteps that as I've trolled Telegram and Discord and totally fallen for a lot of scams. So, does anyone want to share their like spookiest crypto stories? Like, what went wrong? What happened?
I'll go first. I have one that's very, very top of mind. So one of our old colleagues, Janina, who I hope is listening to this right now. We miss you, Janina. Hope you're doing well. I was
Miss
at a
you.
bar with some friends, just having a couple casual beers, nothing crazy, but definitely having the a little
Beers.
bit of euphoria going on from the alcohol, and she sent us a message on our internal messaging system that the Doodles NFTs were launching again. There's like a new batch of them, and I got so excited. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make so much money. The mint's like a half a ETH or something like that. And sent the funds to a random address and didn't get an NFT in return. So that was definitely like a 4-digit loss.
So who backpulled you? Was it Janina? Sorry, Janina. Or was it who
She
was
sent me
it?
the
Who
link.
sent you the link?
She also, I think she added a disclaimer though. She's like, I'm not sure if this is real, but it might be. And I didn't do any research at all. I just pressed the button and
Those casual beers caught up to you.
I guess.
casual beers, man.
I mean, this is what shows you, right? Like, do your own
Perfect
research.
example. I'm the antithesis of a DYOR guy, so don't listen to my ideas.
Don't do
Don't
what
have
Harrison
casual
did. Don't be
beers.
like Harrison.
They're bad for you.
No casual beers, only serious beers. What about everybody else? Does anyone else have a good story?
So before there was Uniswap and before there was like true DeFi, there was a company called Ether Delta. So that was like the true DeFi. And at one point, the guy who was running it sold the company. And then they ran like an ICO. And I invested in that. And that's the last I've heard of it. Like they said that they were going to update the website, they were going to do all this stuff, but they took the $2 million and just ran. Like it was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys hear that crazy story about the Canadian exchange, was it? I'm forgetting what it's called, but it's like the Canadian exchange with one of the founders who died under mysterious circumstances in India, and the other one said he didn't know where the funds were, and this was related to was it Luna or was it which project was this? Because he ended up being a founder of a project.
Wow.
I know what you're talking about. Quadriga CX, that's what it is. And one of the guys was part of
Yeah.
Abracadabra and like kind of related to the to Luna in a way, and that was
Yeah, I think it was like in treasury, like helping with treasury management or something, right? So people like flipped out, and there was all of the drama about, we worked with him in the past, and let's not make something to be nothing, or make
yeah, and
nothing
then
to
Yeah.
be something.
Is this the one on Netflix?
what was your question, Keon?
Is this the one? I think. Is this one of those that is a documentary now on Netflix? The Crypto King or something like that?
Yeah, that's about the other founder. Yeah.
Okay.
I I do
Yeah, it's
wonder
pretty
what's
crazy.
going to happen. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before where if you have someone who's like an anonymous founder or someone who's just more of like a face, like a little PFP on Twitter, and then they're like a part of a multi-sig or a really important part of a DAO or something, then they just die and don't know anyone like personally enough to where the information doesn't get back. Like, what happens then? I mean, if you're on the board of directors for a company, they have that kind of information available, but there probably have been some problems, but there will be more problems with that, with the anonymity factor.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Like, how do you hand off like your crypto, not just like your crypto assets, but also your crypto responsibilities in like a
Yeah,
future world?
we should post a tweet poll on this or a Twitter poll on this, but maybe leave for anyone listening, leave comments below. Should we list projects that have anonymous founders, or do you think that that's not a good idea? I'm curious what people think.
Yeah, and I'm also curious, like, how are you handing off your crypto assets to other generations or other people in case something happens to you? Are you leaving your, wallet addresses, I mean, like your passwords in, like your will? Like, how are you handing it off, or how are you making sure people have access in case
Yeah,
something
that is
happens?
interesting. And then it'd be like estate taxes, and then how many people have told their kids or whoever would inherit their assets about their seed phrase, things like that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of questions that'll have come up and will come up as we begin to dive deeper into this.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting is like with physical assets, right? Like money, or, I mean, I guess money could be a digital asset, but like with money or like gold or jewelry, like it's in a physical space. Like if you don't have the key, you like break it, you get a locksmith, you get in there and you get it no matter what happens. It might take some time, you might have to like work with the police, but you get access. In the case of crypto, like you don't really get access if you don't have the seed phrase, or if you don't have the passcode, or you don't even know what wallet it's stored on.
Yeah, and I think that is what some of these decentralized identity companies are trying to achieve. It looks like there is some research on how to bequeath your crypto assets. Looks like there's maybe some like academic research that was done, but I'm not sure. I don't have an answer. It's a good question.
Yeah, I met a project team. I won't mention which one, but well, it's not a project team. It's more like a hardware company project. Um, and what they were doing was they were building these cold storage wallets that had 5 different keys, and if you had 3 keys at the same place, you could open the cold storage wallet and access the information. So the idea was that maybe you have one and you give one to like your kids and one to your wife, or whatever, and you hope that they don't try to access it when you're still alive, but maybe when if you're no longer here, they can all enough people can get together, enough keys can be in the same place that you can access the the data and the tokens in there. So that's pretty interesting.
Are you
Uh,
scared to? Did you
well,
invest in
so I
that
guess
company? Or are you scared to plug it here? Or?
well, I haven't invested in a company in the company, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. But I would have to look up like what it's called, and also I don't know if I want to like pump like specific wallets, but I don't want people to come back at me in case it doesn't work later and tell me this was their spookiest crypto story, right? Uh, they
That kind
bought a
of sounds
thousand
like
dollar
it'd be a
wallet.
good murder mystery, maybe kind of like a Knives Out kind of thing, where the matriarch patriarch, they die and pass the keys along to the whole family, and there's like 30 people. They have to figure out who has what keys and what combination or whatever.
Yeah, like who's trying to get together in the room together? Like, which 3 people got
Yeah,
together in one
yeah.
room
Where
right
are
after
they?
the person died?
Where's the wallet?
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. I mean, honestly, I would watch it. I think
I
Sam, you
think
should
we
pitch
just have
this to
on our
Netflix.
hands here. I mean, we'll have the screenplay ready by Friday. Send it in.
Yeah, we'll stop writing our OK Coin blog
We'll
post, so we'll just start writing
pivot into
screenplays.
screenplay
This is
writing
like
if
writing.
everything else didn't work out.
It's called Spooky Halloween, right? So, um, I guess I'll quickly mention my spooky story since everybody else shared theirs, but mine was pretty similar to Harrison's. I felt like I was kind of behind on the NFT craze as well, and I kind of felt like I had to get an NFT to be, a legitimate member of this community. So I joined a bunch of these Discord channels, and one of the Discord channels, I didn't read that they say we will never DM you. Um, but someone DM'd me and it looked like, the official account and it looked like super legit. It looked like the person was verified and they had this, it looked like they had the tick mark and, they sent a link being like, we're having a pre-sale for this new mint that we're doing, limited edition, like only 100 NFTs. I got so excited. I was like, okay, I'm going to buy this. Um, and thankfully I connected it to one of my wallets that only had a little bit more than well, I guess thankfully, but like had more than like less than $1,000, and each NFT was 500. So I buy one, and then nothing happened. It says like it looks like nothing's happened. I don't get any email, nothing happens. I thought maybe the button didn't work, and I'm getting worried because now it's showing me there's less and less NFTs available. I'm getting so nervous, and I'm gonna miss out. I try to buy another one. Thankfully, I didn't have enough money left in my wallet to buy the second one. And so it said like insufficient funds, and I was like, oh, thank God. So I was like, oh no, like I didn't get my NFT, but it drew $500 from me, so that means like clearly the NFT is out there somewhere, and it looks like the actual website because I actually went directly to the actual website as well, and it looked identical. Um, and then I realized there was like one letter that was wrong between the actual website and this website in the address. And that's how they got me. So that was my rug pull, and I will say I never bought an NFT again.
Dang. Seems like I think everyone
That
has
is
that
a
scamming
serious.
story. Oh, go on, Harrison.
I was just gonna say that would scar me for life. I mean, mine was pretty bad too. So
Do you guys feel like crypto has too many scams and like that's what spooks people and gets them to kind of stay away from the market or makes them feel like they don't have the right kind of information to get in or purchase the right tokens or buy the right NFTs? And how do we fix it?
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, that.
I don't think it's just a black market. I don't think.
Go on here, Kyung.
No, I'm just saying. I don't think it's just a scam, and the whole historical, the rise of cryptocurrency and the blockchain is not just a scam, but you also have a lot of black markets. All of this compound and pile on top of one another, and it can kind of give cryptocurrency and blockchain a name or like an association that is not what it actually is. And I think that's what a lot of people are still thinking. Back to
Yeah,
you.
it's similar to that. I was just it's very discouraging because I mean to some people you'll like I for example I had a shirt. There was like I won't mention the project. I guess we'll try to keep it discreet. But there's a project, a really cool shirt that I got at a conference. Kind of colorful. It was like cool enough to where I just wear it out and about. And I had someone comment like, "Oh, I really like your shirt," and I said, "Oh, yeah, thanks." And they asked what it was, and I said, "Oh, it's a layer 2 scaling protocol on Ethereum." He's like, "What is that?" "Oh, it's a crypto project." And he just kind of like frowned and like, it's like, "I don't know if I like your shirt anymore." I was like, I mean, he was kind of joking, but he was serious too. Like, there's definitely that feeling around it that you have to be kind of. Sometimes you just don't want to push it too hard. You just want to say, "Oh, I work in, Web3," or be as vague as possible sometimes with people.
yeah, I think this is a weird analogy, but I think it's kind of like you have to be open-minded. It's kind of like dating to some extent. Like you have to be willing to commit, and you have to be willing to get your heart broken. Crypto will break your heart, but it also will return dividends to you if you put enough time into it, I think so. Yeah.
Where's the heart emoji?
You have to allow you gotta let your heart and your wallet be vulnerable to really get the max out of it.
One of my good friends, he says the only way to make money is to spend money, and with crypto, I think that's very true.
But I guess if you think about it that way, wasn't crypto supposed to be, or isn't it supposed to be, this like democratized landscape where people, it's not just the rich people who make money anymore, and it's not just the rich people who have access. But if you need to have money to make money, and you need to, which is true, right? Like if early adopters like needed to have extra cash to put into Ethereum and Bitcoin when nobody really knew what it really was or what it was going to look like. I mean, how do we make it equal or not equal, like I don't know, fair? Or is this as fair as it's going to get?
Yeah, well, speaking to Harrison's point about spending money to make money, I mean that you literally, I mean that was something that I think we all realized at one point. Like, I mean, at the very beginning, you say, oh, I actually need to have Ethereum to pay for gas, or I need like things like that doesn't really exist in other realms. You literally have to buy something to mess around with it, even just to like have a little fun, and so that can be like a disqualifying factor for people who especially in like other countries where maybe like their currency isn't as strong, so when they try to get Ethereum or whatever gas they're using, they just can't get as much. That could be difficult. I think you kind of maybe solve that with like this cheaper gas, I guess, with layer 2 stuff or layer 1s that have a little more quicker, easier finality, things like that. But I mean, maybe it just starts with like education. It's just I think we're far off from like crypto classes in like elementary school, but maybe not. I don't know. I think that could be a cool community initiative to kind of teach the younger generation so that they're they get there before us.
Yeah, that's actually a really smart idea. And I think, something that I've been discussing with some of my friends back home in India as well, which is like, how do we create more education at a younger age? But like, I mean, for us, it's also more about like older people. I'm always surprised by every time I go back home. I'm always every party I go to, I'm cornered by like 4 or 5 like aunties and uncles, and they'll always be like, "Oh, I heard that you work in crypto. Like, you have to explain crypto to me. I'm taking your number from your mom," and I'm like, "Sure," And I really want to just start doing like master classes for crypto for Indian aunties. Because I mean, I have aunties who are just like, yeah, my son put in some money in something, and I don't know where my money is, and like, I don't know what he's doing, but I'd love to know
Yeah.
what the hell's happening.
I think there's a great brand name to come from that too. I haven't thought of one yet, but Indian aunties for crypto, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I've actually been like toying around with it. I was like, maybe I should start like writing or just, maybe having classes for like math classes for aunties because I'm just kind of tired of the same spiel every time I go home because it's like always like one on one. I have to sit down for an hour and then explain. But I really, I really do think that there's an avenue for more education for people who don't understand like
Yeah.
finance speak. Um, I think crypto's also started like using its own like language. I have a VC investor friend who's French, and she works at a pretty prominent like French American, actually British VC, and she said that she was in a meeting and some guy was presenting his crypto project, and he just used so many terms she didn't understand. And she's quite like tech familiar, she's quite savvy, and even then she said like I just could not understand what this guy was saying. So I felt like if even she's getting like shut out of the industry, like how hard is it for like the average person to like read a website and understand what
Yeah.
this project does?
One thing I want to go back to like increasing access for people to invest. There was someone I used to work with. She had I actually don't remember the name of the visa, but it was like a unique visa where she couldn't invest in the U.S. stock market, but she could invest in crypto. And I think that goes for a lot of folks that don't live in the U.S. It's harder to get access to the U.S. stock market and bond market.
Yeah.
Whereas crypto, like you can access it from any country in the world. So it is much more volatile. It might not be the best place to store money, except for in stable coins, in the short term at least. And so that's definitely a good quality, right?
Sorry, that was me. Yeah, that's actually a really good point to make, which is like access to, I mean, almost like the U.S. financial system, even if you're not sitting in
Yeah.
the U.S.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, that's cool. Okay, so I guess let's switch to our next section. Sorry for anyone who's listening that we've been talking about democratizing access on a spooky episode, but we're gonna go back to our spooky thoughts. We've talked about our spooky stories. I want to take a second to actually step away from spooky stories and discuss that today is, supposed to be or is often lauded to be the 14th anniversary of the Bitcoin white paper by Satoshi. So, we've come a long way. It's, happy 14, I guess, to everybody here into the industry. How do we think about this? Like, what do we feel? Like, where were you? Did you read the paper? Like, when this was published, did you ever read it? Like, what do you think?
I have not read it. I've seen it. I've seen it posted on walls. I've seen it different places, but I've actually never sat down to read. I think it's only 11 pages or so. Like I've seen videos about it on YouTube, but I've never just sat down to read it. Have you guys?
Yeah, yeah, I read it. The fact that it's 11 pages was easy for me, but I'm trying to make my way through like the top coin white papers, and that was a nice relief because Ethereum's is much longer, and then everything else seems to kind of. I think the Bitcoin is the beauty of it is the simplicity of it. You know, it's 11 pages. It's just kind of a. I mean, the whole technology is fairly simple. You know, from a 30,000 foot view. So yeah, it's a solid read. Though if I'd read it back when it was released, I think I might be a little bit better off financially than I am right now. That would be nice to have known about it back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I did read it because I think I was in undergrad I was in undergrad and people were talking about it. And I remember there's all these stories that people have, and I do remember, this whole thing about like Bitcoin for pizza or pizza for Bitcoin, and there was like, a couple of like, or what I remember really about Bitcoin was that there were people in undergrad who were using it for, I would say like maybe nefarious purposes, right? So like buying things off the dark web, and that was my association of Bitcoin, despite the actual product itself and despite the white paper. And I honestly just thought that it was going to be this like random online thing that we use to circumvent, not we specifically, but people use to circumvent legal systems. So for me, I'm really happy that it kind of transcended that, and the actual value of the white paper was, I think, seen by more people, and it became more than just the dark web.
Do y'all think we'll ever find out who Satoshi is?
That's spooky.
Yeah.
Many
Do you think it's a
prospects.
person or it's a group of people?
I guess it could be a group. I mean, it seemed like there was like, I mean, the comments were, I mean, it was acted as if it was one person, but I mean, that's a pretty grand idea to be coming from one person. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the comments it seems like one person too. Like mic drop, I'm leaving.
Who would
Yeah,
be
because
the,
I feel like there's so many people that were involved that weren't maybe like fully hadn't fully shared their information, and like for one person to go away and not the others, it is kind of strange. It makes me think it is one person. No idea who it is though. Maybe it's Batman.
His
Read,
wallet.
read the.
I mean, 14 years ago, I was sitting. I couldn't go out with my friends and just decided to send out an email. And
That's why you can
The
read
rest
the
is
paper
history.
because you wrote it.
ah, it was a trick.
oh, clever.
Surprise!
As Sam said, my life would be much different, I think.
Yeah, that'd be some wild alpha.
You know what's really spooky?
What?
What, Keon?
So I heard like the wallet hasn't been moved much. What's really spooky is it actually suddenly moved. And it moves like in a meaningful manner. Like if it moves in a meaningful manner, what would happen? Some people postulate it's actually gonna crash the entire Bitcoin system because somebody's holding way too much. No, that
Yeah, well, actually, what if the person who is Satoshi has passed away and didn't have a succession plan, and that's why it hasn't moved? Is because there was no details of the cold storage wallet, and it's sitting somewhere, and we'll never know who it is because they're no longer with us. I don't know. That's. I mean, Jake, this is kind of like going back full circle to the beginning of our conversation, but I mean, it could happen.
that will be a real inflationary event if it's proven. The supply just got cut.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? Like, why not move that kind of money?
That is actually a really great theory. Have you read that before? Has anyone proposed?
No.
We need to get you on CoinDesk TV.
Okay, crime solvers.
Yeah, like conspiracy theories, like. I mean, honestly though, the only ways that I feel like this is like reasonable is if one, the person's already a billionaire, and they don't even need to think about that kind of money, or two, they don't have access to it anymore because they're not here.
Yeah, I think no matter who it is, I
All
feel
the
like
lost-
no matter who it is, it's just going to be kind of underwhelming. Be like, oh, it's just them. Like, I hope they're listening right now. If you want to let us know, give us some alpha. But it's kind of like those like EDM artists who like wear masks, like like Daft Punk, like Marshmello, stuff like that. It's never as impressive as you think it is because the face behind the mask is just a person, whereas the idea is so much more.
It humanizes somebody, which is the opposite of spooky and Halloweeny. Okay, guys, I think we should wrap up. Maybe we're kind of at time, and maybe do our last session of okay, not okay. So, for those of you who are with us for the first time, the okay, not okay is our section that we like to wrap up all of our OKCoin lives with. And we'll ask in a rapid fire manner. We'll ask questions, and people have to react quickly and say okay or not okay. So the point of it is to be fun, to be quick, to be quirky. Shoot your best shot, guys. Like, give me your best ideas. So, I'll let everybody at least do one. So why don't we start off with Batman? Like, give us an okay, not okay.
I think you're on mute, Batman.
You're on mute.
Sorry. Carving pumpkins on Halloween?
What?
Not
It's perfectly okay.
Oh, it's food wastage. Like there's like I read something about like how many X millions of kilograms of pumpkins are thrown out in the U.S. every year because people are
So you can
carving
only
them.
have food or like, I mean, it is food, but it's also like a gourd, like, is everything that is edible has to be food? I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of the
Sam,
definition
to
of
me,
food,
that
but
tells me you haven't had pumpkin brownies from Trader Joe's before.
I have not.
or pumpkin
Aisle
pancakes.
6?
I'll s- Ooh,
Pumpkin
those
peanut
sound
butter
good.
pancakes.
Sounds pretty
All right, I
fire.
have another one. I have another now.
Yeah.
Okay. Wearing jorts while working on the
Oh, it's so okay. So okay.
Definitely okay. Yeah, that's a solid fashion move, especially when you have the Trader Joe look above it.
Okay, I have one. Driving to the rich neighborhoods to get the better candy.
That's okay.
That's very okay. Steal from the rich. That's
Yeah.
Hashtag crypto.
Okay.
And then go into the house.
Have several different costumes. Get a bunch of king size Snickers over and over again. Okay, what about this? Okay, not okay. The Monster Mash. Oh, it's a.
I don't know what that
Oh,
is.
you haven't heard the hit song, The Monster Mash? It's a.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
I've heard of
it's
it.
it's a banger. It's a. I luckily haven't heard it this year, but I'm gonna say not okay. But
All right. Kyung, what's yours?
Tough one. Baby Shark for the official Halloween costume next year. Maybe it's a bit too late. Okay or not okay?
Okay.
Definitely okay.
Although I will say I think Harrison's costume wins.
shout out.
Crunchy
Yeah, that's
by
I
Trader
have
Joe's
to give
employee.
all credit to my girlfriend. That was her idea. I don't want to take.
Well, tell us how you got
me
it,
and her-
Harrison.
There's a Halloween store right next to Trader Joe's in Salt Lake City, and we were gonna go to both places, get some snacks for the party that we were going to, and get our costumes. And my girlfriend's like, "Why don't we just dress up as Trader Joe's employees?" And so we went in there and like we were asking if they sold merch or like shirts or anything like that, and all they had was the bag that's behind me, and then these temp worker stickers. So I tossed one of those guys on.
I love it. I love it. I think mine was maybe probably the quickest Halloween costume
I don't
after
know. Mine's
Kyung's.
pretty quick too. I don't know if you could tell, but this just pops right off. It's not stuck in my head. So yeah, this was pretty quick.
Oh,
I'm not a real
really?
witch. I'm sorry, guys.
Did any of you?
Hey,
he's just here
onesie is
for
actually
he's
not
just here for the good candy.
onesie is actually not
What,
that
Kyung?
easy to wear.
That's true.
It's not very practical.
Exactly. You're not a baby anymore. It's pretty hard to go to a Raspberry. No, I'm just kidding.
You didn't buy a pack of diapers?
No, that's the problem. I think they should go with it. It's a complimentary goods. Diapers and Baby Shark
They're
onesie.
just right next to each other.
I think I think this is what helps men realize how hard it is for women to wear jumpsuits.
It's a whole thing.
That's deep.
Struggle. I will say.
It's informal women's studies training. Is that what you're
Um,
saying?
Yeah, like what gender studies,
Nice.
gender empathy
It's
studies.
a nice Halloween rebrand.
Um, yeah. The next step is making you guys walk in heels.
That
Did
sounds tough.
did any of you guys
Ooh.
go to like actually dress up at all this week, or is this the first time you're dressing up?
I dressed up yesterday for a
First time.
music hunt festival in Houston. I was pretty lazy. I was just a character from an anime, and I just had the shirt and had the card with it. It's pretty much what I would have worn anyway. But yeah, it was just as lazy as this one.
Batman, have you always been Batman?
For the last week or so, yeah. I've been just touring different cities around the United States, so I might go international shortly.
The Batman International Tour. He's gonna have
Indeed.
a residency in London or Vegas.
Vegas would be nice, yeah.
Vegas would be nice. All right, guys. I think that we're kind of coming up to the end of our episode. We're so happy to have everyone who joined us. Thank you for listening. If you're still here, listening to us just riffing and saying whatever was on our mind and hanging out. We don't get to hang out as a team as much as we'd like. And thank you for everybody on the listening team
Also,
for
leave
joining
your
today.
comments who has the best costume.
Thank you.
We wanna hear-
Yes, and feel free to join. I mean, feel free to follow OKCoin on Twitter. Feel free to follow any of us on Twitter. I believe that my Twitter is just Mithal Devika. That's my name, last name, first name. If anybody else wants to share their Twitter handles, please feel free to share them now before we end.
I'm Decent Base, just at Decent Base.
I am Harrison Ammon. Harrison Ammon.
I'm Kurt Grella.
At Kurt Grillo. Awesome.
I'm Kurt Grella.
Thank you guys again, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Happy Halloween.
Alrighty. Happy Halloween, everyone. See ya.
Happy Halloween.